So today we're going to discuss about the satellite. So from this content, we will able to know about what is satellite, the history of satellite, how satellite works, what is orbit, different types of orbit, orbital distance, and various types of satellite system. So what is satellite? Satellite is an object that moves around a large object. So Earth is a satellite because it moves around the sun. So the same way, the moon is a satellite because it moves around the Earth. So Earth and Moon are both a satellite, but these satellites are natural satellite. So on that ground, there are two types of satellite. One is natural, such as Moon and Earth, and another is artificial, which is made by the human being, such as International Space Station orbiting the Earth. So satellite is an object that always moves around a large object. The theory of satellite was simple enough that it shoots something out into the space at the right speed and on the right route. It will stay up there orbiting Earth for years, but not forever. So history on the simple history of satellite in 1957, Russians Sputnik 1, the first man-made artificial satellite on the orbiting, that just beeping noise signal coming from it. That's it. In 1958, America first Explorer 1 launched successfully a satellite. In 1963, Synchrome 2 from NASA, and 1964, third Synchrome satellite transmitted. That was the real satellite, and it will live telecast the Olympic Games from the Tokyo. So on April 6, 1965, communication commercial satellite was launched that was called the early bird satellite. Intelsat 3 satellite in 1969 created a global TV that spanned their network in Atlantic, Pacific, and Indian Oceans. The introduction of multiple beam antennas in the 1980s brought a new improvement and efficiency in a satellite system. How satellite works? Here is a process how satellite works. So in satellite, there will be some transmitter, some receiver, some downlink line and uplink line. In here, the first photo, here is there is some receiver, top of the something, or top of the roof, or top of the high rise building. There will be receiver set up here, and this receiver receive a signal. That signal is downlinked by the satellite, and there are another signal sent from the ground station that is called transmitter, and this signal is called the uplink. That means one signal in the ground, there are two stations, one is receiver station and one is transmitter station, and in the earth, on the sky, there is a satellite that receives some signal, and mainly receive and send some signals that will be helpful for the receiver and transmitter. Some receiver receives some signal and some transmitter transmits some signal, and this process will be a continuous process, and it will took part in a frequent time of period. So there is no breakdown the signal between the transmitter, receiver, and satellite. And same way, uh, the communication satellite were work such as the local area network in the ground station and the worldwide internet connected with the network operation centers, and these network operation centers send a signal to the satellite, and satellite back the signal to the downlink by downlink receiver, and receiver receive the signal to the local area network. In this way, satellite works from uplink to downlink, transmitter to receiver. So at that way, satellite works. So the other way, uh, there are some common type of satellites. The common type of satellites includes the first of all the military and civilian Earth observation satellite. This was the first type of satellite. The satellite firstly introduced for the military works or military observations. Then the communication satellites. The most commercial satellite was launched in communication satellite, and this communication satellite was navigated from and another is navigation satellite, weather satellites, space telescopes. So mostly common satellites are the communication satellite, military satellite, navigation satellite. These are the most common satellites. And what is orbit? If we want to know the satellite, then we must to know the orbit. If we don't know what is orbit, then we cannot cope up with how satellite work. What is satellite? So an orbit is a curved path that an object in space, such as star, planet, moon, that takes around another object due to gravity. Because of gravity, they are all moving around the an orbit. It's a curved path. That means it's moving around their way, and they move their own way. No one can cross their way, no one can stop their way, so they are continuously working in their way. So orbit is a curved path, and an object in the space takes around another object due to the gravity. Because of gravity, they are working from one space to another space. And orbit, according to the European Space Agency, orbit are generally six types: low Earth orbit, medium Earth orbit, geostationary orbit, polar orbit or sun synchronous orbit, transfer orbit, and L point orbit. So European Space Agency generally divided the six types of orbit. So here's the low Earth orbit. That is shortly called LEO orbit. LEO is the name suggested in orbit that is really close to the Earth's surface. It's really close, it's very close to the Earth's surface. Its altitude is 375 to 1000 kilometers, and revolution time 90 minutes, 3 hours on average. Reduce transmission delay, as it is very close to the Earth, so it reduces the transmission delay. Eliminates need for bulky receiving equipment, and it's some disadvantage, small coverage area. So it's very near to the Earth, so it coverage area is very small. The lifetime of LEO orbit, LEO satellite, is very small, 3 to 5 years. And its subdivision was the little LEO, big LEO, mega LEO, or super LEO. So MEO, medium Earth orbit, is uh, 5,600 to 9,500 miles the orbit. These orbit are primarily observed for communication satellite from the north to south pole. Unlike the circular part of the geostationary orbit, MEO are placed in an elliptical shaped orbit It approximately a dozen of medium Earth orbiting satellite are necessary to provide the communications global coverage 24 hours. That means it 12 or 24 satellite can cover the whole width. If we have 12 or 24 new satellite, then it can cover the whole world. And here's a GEO satellite as the most powerful satellite. This GEO satellite is generally works from east to west, following the north Earth's rotation. In which way the Earth is rotated, this satellite is also same way rotated. It takes 23 hours 56 minutes and 4 seconds by traveling at exactly the same rate as the Earth. So Earth is moving around the same rate. So the GEO satellite is moving the same rate, and GEO satellite shoot about the 3 kilometer per second. So its speed is very high, and as same as the Earth. The GEO is generally used satellite to stay constantly above one particular place over the Earth. GEO satellite cover the large range of the Earth. So almost three GEO satellite can cover the whole world. So nearly three satellites can cover the full Earth. So it's very powerful satellite. And polar orbit and sun synchronous satellites as well as O satellite in polar orbit usually travel past Earth from the uh, north to south rather than west to east. It's passing roughly over the Earth poles. These satellites in polar orbit do not have to pass the north to south pole exactly. SSOs travel only over the polar region. It just only over the polar region, not other region. And GTO transfer orbits or geostationary transfer orbit. Transfer orbit are a special kind of orbit used to get from one orbit to another orbit. That means if you want to transfer a signal from one orbit to another orbit, then GTO is used. When satellite are launching from Earth and in carried to the space with launch vehicle such as the Arena 5, the satellite are not always placed directly on their final orbit. So GTO uh, help to place in a proper orbit. L point is a language point positioning in space where the gravitational force of the two body system like Sun and Earth produce the enhanced region for attraction and repulsion. This can be used by the spacecraft to reduce fuel consumption needed to remain in positions. So that was the satellite and various types of satellite. So thank you.